Hey Tegan, what's in the bag? It's the show where I show you my bag of comics after I come home from the comic book store after spending too much money. But it's money I'm injecting back into the local economy. Oh, we got a crinkly paper one this week. Let's just pick something at random here. Oh, this. You know, I looked at the first issue of this on the TikTok because the store got a bunch of free copies of the first one. They pushed it. And I liked it. I thought it was a successful enough promotional scheme that I would be along for the ride. And I haven't really been disappointed, although we need to go and read the whole thing now that it's done. Zack Kaplan, a bunch of great artists. Fabiana Mascolo, Deniz, Manheere, Jorge Corona, Jordi Belair on colors with Deniz, one of the artists, and Medea Iacono. And I see their name everywhere these days. Hassan Atsmani Al-How. Really making a name on excellent books. You know, it's getting to where he's a name where if you see it on a book, it's worth, at least if you see his name on a book, it's worth checking it out because he generally picks smart projects. And like I say, this is a nice looking comic book right here. I have no idea what's happening because I haven't read past the second issue. I'm waiting until I get them all in a pile here. It's, some science fantasy type thing. The main character, I think, that they experience a great loss, so they discover they have magic powers having to do with the nature of reality. So, that kind of cosmic stuff that catnip for me. Looks fun, at least. Looks like very creatively put together. I like the sense of color here. Of course, there's a lot of good colorists working today. A good colorist isn't a luxury anymore. It's rather the prerequisite. That's the flip test nowadays. You flip through a comic book. Are the colors grating? Are they interesting? Is there a reason for them to be there, or would it have been better to leave it as black and white art? And sometimes the answer is, I would have rather seen this in the black and white. But there's certainly enough people who are trying to figure out how to be an additive to the comics they put their name to, which you can't necessarily say for colorists before. Well, really, before the 2000s in any great volume. And, it's since computers, to a large degree, the colorists have a lot more control over how the page looks than they used to when, truth be told, the colorist was a slave to the deadline. And that's why, if you read an old Transformers comic book like we've done on this show, like Optimus Prime is colored correctly, and all the other characters in the background are like one shade of olive or some such. Nowadays, they only do that if it's interesting. Yeah, so I don't know what's going on here. I have to go back, and I guess it's going to be continued or concluded. Yeah, it's a nice looking book. I don't think, I don't know. Maybe I'll read on the show. All right. Oh, Poison Ivy. I don't think I've said anything. I've bought this one quite regularly. Yes, Poison Ivy. Is it the best book running now? I don't know. It seemed like it really started out strong, and then people just don't really, maybe don't talk about it as much, but it's up to issue 23. That's almost 2 years. That's a really long run for a book that the company, didn't think had like 6 issues juice at the beginning. And yet here we are. She is 2 years into a solo run that the company just, didn't see coming. We know for a fact, verifiably, did not see this one coming. And boom, there you go, Poison Ivy. She's a marquee player. Would you have guessed that back in 1990? I think, the animated series has a lot to answer for. They really sold that version of the character. And that version of the character on Batman, the animated series, wasn't even that different from how Poison Ivy had been in the comics. It was still very much a classic Silver Age look in a lot of ways. And to this day, that's at the core of the character. But, Chris Bachalo. This is a book that I usually buy the variant on because they get really good variants on it. So every month I pick something different. And sometimes, it used to be, I would sometimes come home also with the A cover. But now, DC, I gotta say, I love you for this. This is great. Thank you so much. They've just started putting the regular book under it. And so I don't have to feel like I'm cheating on the regular cover artist, who is an excellent artist. Jessica Fong, I think there are a couple covers in her run that are extraordinary pieces that I think should be rightly famous. She's a very talented artist. And I always feel guilty going home with the variant, but them's the breaks. Now I don't have to feel bad about it. All right, so the inside of this cardstock, it's advertising the Pride Month covers, which looks like a nice set of pieces. What's on the... And there you go. The Pride special with Al Ewing. Now, his name really jumped out at me when I was looking at this. This can't be his first work for DC. That seems like that would be a bigger deal. I'm trying to remember, but I've been saying it's only a matter of time. He's already, that third Defenders series, losing that probably stung a bit. The idea of, Green Lantern might be seeming kind of interesting if I were him right about now. Adventures with Superman Season 2. I've already said I really liked the first couple episodes I saw of this. But, it's on Max. Don't make me get Max. Don't make me... Oh, God. I really want this. I think if you know what this is, the replica edition that people have been screaming about for years of the Jose Luis Garcia Lopez DC style guide from 1982. People have been screaming for years, put that out. Well, I'd buy that, and so they put one out, but it is a special replica edition. And it's almost $100. And even given that, man, it's a daily fight. I don't know. It's a daily fight. I don't know how long it's going to be up, but I'm aware that it's up every moment of the day. Oh, man. So, I don't know what's going on in Poison Ivy right now. I usually go back and read this series in chunks because I know I like it. I know I like the creators, even if the artist is someone different. Who we got? Who we got at that here? And there's Harley Quinn, and I usually buy just about anything with Harley Quinn in it. I'm sorry. Willow Wilson. Haining. Oh, yeah, I've seen that name a few times lately. Colors are Irv Prianto. Letters, Hassan Atsmani. El How. What was I just saying? Man. Yep. And in addition to the Chris Bachalo, there was a Frank Cho cover, and I think 2 variants of the Frank Cho, Nimit Malavia, W. Scott Forbes doing the Pride one. So they've definitely figured out how to make money off of Poison Ivy and Harley Quinn. Straight up. I like Harley Quinn in 2024. It's just like the mood. I like the character now, and I know that probably sounds terrible because I know there are a lot of people who hate the character now. But no, nowadays she's awesome. They're making much better use of her than Marvel is with Deadpool. So, you know, so what if it's half the shtick? I like both characters. They're just fun people. You smile when you see them on the page. That's why they sell so many comic books. And there's Killer Croc, who has just had a really good 21st century. I wouldn't have thought Killer Croc, of all people, would really get so much of the push. But if you look at it, he's gotten low-key one of the best runs of supporting villain stories. You know, no one considers him one of the main guys or anything, but he's just like this really messed up crocodile man who lives in the background of a bunch of other Batman characters. I guess there's a slot just that size. Oh, I'm not being good with the timer. I really don't want these things to run too long. The whole point is, that character. You know, for my sins, I read years and years and years of the Red Hood and the Outlaws series, trying to, like, not reading it that closely, don't get me wrong, but there just was absolutely nothing appealing to me about those comic books in an almost, like, fascinating way. And they lasted, they ran forever. But it pretty much burnt out any interest I have that anyone can do anything with that character as he exists now. He's just annoying. Yeah. All right, so what's going on here? It's Harley Quinn and Jason Todd. They're stepping into something they don't understand. Oh, they killed the Pharaonic man. Okay, well, yeah, I mean, he dies every time he shows up. Don't feel too bad. Oh, and that's happened before too. So I'm sure she'll be, you know, in a bed in a hospital, or maybe she won't be. I don't know. Whatever. It'll be interesting. And like I say, I haven't read the last tranche of issues. One of these days, I got them. I need to just sit back and read the first couple of years. Now that we're up to like 23, man, that might be worth doing here. I got them. It's certainly, you know, it just sort of snuck up as one of those runs that I think is maybe going to last the test of time from this period. Falling in Love on the Path to Hell. I don't know what this is, but it looks interesting on the outside looking in. Whose names are responsible here? Yeah, Garry Duggan, Garry Brown. Okay, so I don't maybe recognize Garry Brown, but Garry Duggan, I've read Garry Duggan comics. I've read Garry Duggan comics. I've been, you know, so on. Color artist, Chris O'Halloran, letterer, Joe Sabino. So I flipped through it for 2 seconds in the store just to verify, because, you know, I'm a sucker. If it looks like an interesting first issue from Image, I'll bring it home. I'll give it a shot, because I know at the very least, if it's an Image book that looks like it might be interesting, it's at least something that someone spent a lot of time on, and maybe, you know, stop and pay attention to what's going on. Even if I don't come back for the second, or if I do. So you got a cowboy shootout in a church. Oh, he gets hit. Cowboy gets hit. Oh, and then you got, interesting. Oh, yeah. Across the Pacific Ocean, the nation of Japan was in great turmoil. How this becomes relevant to McCrate's life is the crux of this tale. The Imperial Meiji government faced an uprising from the last of the samurais, and the samurais lost. The Satsuma Rebellion of 1877 claimed tens of thousands of lives before being extinguished. The leaders were dead, and the disarming of the remaining rebels was underway on the island of Kyushu. Oh, man. Wow. Okay, there you go. That's two interesting hooks right there, throwing a cowboy into the right after the Meiji Uprising. All right. I just ended up learning a lot about the Meiji period recently, randomly. So it's like, okay, I'm on board. Okay. This is decent. You got my interest. Oh, but someone has a gun, and somehow she manages to get him even with the gun, which, you know. That's just the kind of story we're reading here. It looks nice, though. Oh, but then she gets shot. Oh, so they're both two warriors, two killers who, oh, they die on the same night. Oh, okay. Okay. Suddenly, he washes ashore alongside. Oh, okay. There we go. Now that right there, friends. If you want to know how important turning the page can be as a narrative act in a comic book, there you go. Okay, you got my interest. You pulled me right in here. No, I'll show up for the second issue of this. This is great. Oh, and there's another guy. Oh, so this is probably going to be a lot of guys then. Warriors from different times or whatever fighting monsters. Oh, fantastic. Oh, man. I'm on board. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm kind of on board with this. I'm really on board with this. This looks great. Yeah. Oh, and here's an ad for the local man, which is doing well. Okay. I'm putting this up here so you know this is out there. So that when you go into the comic book store next time, you know that you're not leaving, you're not going home without this, which is the facsimile edition of MAD #1. At closer to the regular size than the magazine would be. But it was, it was published in the 1950s, so it was significantly fatter and a little bit squatter in proportions. And you can see in the reproduction, but still, it was originally a comic book. And this is a piece of history right here, because this, of course, you get the modern DC masthead, all that stuff, the indicia. But you still get most of the original EC branding, which is, kind of cool for a DC book. So yeah, I can read the EC humor stuff for days. I love the EC humor stuff. Every bit of it, even the dated stuff, still works so much better than just about anything before or since. It's how good it is. So this is Jack Davis right here, page 1, story 1 on Mad Magazine #1. Jack Davis. Boom! You already know it's the best comic that's coming home with you that week, that month. So that's why I'm telling you it's out there, so you need to go get it. I don't even know off the top of my head. It looks like they're just doing a spoof of a haunted house setup. I don't know if this is something specific. Sometimes, like this one, okay, this I don't think was a spoof of anything specific. This is Wallywood. This is a famous strip. If you've never read Blobs, it's a really weird, like, historical tableau. Not spoofing anything specific. It could almost have run in one of the sci-fi magazines, as the back feature. It's a sci-fi story that just happens to be really funny from Wallywood. And, Wallywood's, rather dark sense of humor and rather dark vision of, contemporary reality. Yes, dear reader, the machine did break. EC fans, we at EC are proud of our science fiction magazines. You bet they are. Yeah, but they're still hawking picture stories for the Bible too. You know, Gaines will get that dollar. If you like the violent stuff, we got that. If you like the Bible stories, we got that too. Ganeffs. Here we go. Will Elder. Will Elder at his finest. And I think this is just a random, not random, but a generic crime story. I don't think this is anything specific. Later on in the run, they'll get to doing the more specific spoofs. Crow Vadis. Okay. So, yeah. It's dense. Stuffed with that chicken fat. But it doesn't get any better than this, folks. Oh, John Severin. My God. That's why I say that you will never come up with a better opening lineup than that in the history of comics. MAD #1. Right there. Nothing like it in history. This cohort. That's why they talk about EC the way they do. And you go back and if you read the stories and are let down or disappointed or don't really understand why the stories were such a big deal, just look at the art, man. That's where EC mattered. If they hadn't been crushed by an industry cartel, they might have matured. And if you want to talk about, what we mourn from EC, more than anything, yeah, they made some great comics. I mean, they made some great humor comics. But they also made some kind of, juvenile comics and some comics that were actively trying to be a lot better than they were. But in time, who knows? And that's what really sucks about the comics industry, is that's our foundation right there. Anyway, go get it. Okay, I got this. You don't have to nag me about it. Not that you're going to nag me about this, because you probably could have guessed that I would at least give this a shot. Deniz Camp, straight off of 20th Century Men. Straight off a really good period. He did a couple interesting series during that period. And this is his big Marvel move. But these new Ultimate books, they have people's attention. They have hype. The Spider-Man one, obviously. But people, the Black Panther one, and there was another one besides the X-Men. The X-Men was the one that I'm reading, which was the one that Peach Momoko is doing, which is legitimately a good comic to a degree that is kind of frightening, considering that it's mainline Marvel, the Ultimates, their biggest, most commercial books, right there. And sometimes they actually get decent people for it, and that's what we're here to talk to Mr. Deniz Camp for. So, all right, I'm not going to get into you probably heard the hook of the new Ultimates, which I think people took a while to grok, even after the Ultimate Universe book. I think people didn't really understand the hook of the new Ultimate Universe until they got around to Ultimate Spider-Man, which tells me they should have led with Ultimate Spider-Man, in a big way, and then do the Ultimate Universe book, in 6 months when everyone wants to know why we have this book that everyone already likes. But, they did it the way they did it. Deniz Camp, Juan Frigeri, Federico Blee, VC's Travis Lanham, cover artist D.K. Ron and Alejandro Sanchez. It's a decent cover. We got a lot of variant. None of the variants I think they sold out of a couple of the variants before I got there. So, like I say, I feel guilty when I don't buy the regular cover artist. So, yeah, I'm not going to go into the whole basis of everything, but Camp at least earned a solid read-through from me, considering I've never really cared for the Ultimate stuff. I'll be honest with you. I've read just about all of it, but it was never my thing. you know, it was something that other people got really excited about and I kind of kept up with and was sometimes amused by and sometimes just baffled by. Like the Mark Millar X-Men. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. See, I don't know what's going on. I'll go back and give it a real read, but it looks like Captain Britain is speaking French. So you got Doctor Doom, Thor, Sif, always up for more Sif. Honestly, the actress they had to play Sif in the movies was so good with what could have been a very thankless role, and that they didn't figure out to do something with that character when they had such a solid lock. Oh goodness, there we are. All right, well, we'll finish this one up. I don't want these to go too long. So yeah, well, there's the Wasp. You know, I'll show up if the Wasp is in town. I named my late cat Janet, so I have some affection for the character. Actually named after her and the drummer from Slater-Kinney, which is why I don't pay any attention to any Slater-Kinney after Janet left. Man, it's like school on Saturdays. Ain't got no class. Okay, giant-sized Silver Surfer. I'll probably do it. I'll probably do that. I'm down for most Surfer, as long as the Surfer's actually in the book. Do you know how many Silver Surfer comic books they've tried to publish over the years that have not passed the simple flip test of, is the Silver Surfer in this comic book with his name on it? That's happened a few times over the years, and I don't reward that behavior. The Ultimates are here, and we're going to leave a mark. Well, well, that's nice. That's actually a really clever pun right there. That's all right. I still, you know, these aren't my favorite versions of the characters by any means, but Deniz Camp, all right. I'll give it a shot, dude. I like what you're doing so far. Oh, and you know, you're reading a Hickman book. You know, you're riding with Johnny here. Oh. God. You know, I was just talking to someone today. I love the Manhattan Projects. I think the Manhattan Projects is a genuinely great book. I enjoyed every page of it. I don't know if that makes me an outlier. I don't know if people haven't read that one. But it's kind of like Alias with Bendis, where I'm really, really critical of a lot of what Bendis has done. But I think Alias is like one of my favorite books. Same with Hickman and Manhattan Projects. I love that book. I wish he wrote more that I enjoyed, like the Manhattan Projects, as opposed to, sometimes he makes me groan. Sometimes he makes me groan, folks. Oh, wow. A rock music ad. Joywave, Permanent Pleasure. I don't know who these people are. Should I give them a shot? Are they something I'd like? I don't know. The comic book is telling me I might. Oh, yes. I've come to really love these M&M's ads. They're like the last of Marvel's great, like, third-party advertising partners. We need to encourage M&M's. We need to tell them to put more money into comic books. We need more ad revenue and not just, like, intra-house Disney bucks, which is, you know, most of the advertising. Best of Star Wars playlist, Lego Star Wars, M&M's, a rock band. Honestly, though, the rock band's ad should be going up in the first, like, 5 or 6 pages. I'm sorry. Do you want to make money? Or what? All right. Check out the my other videos on this channel. What's in Tegan's Storage Locker. I look at older comics. I've been doing it for a while. Check out my TikTok and my Instagram. I put up daily comic book reviews. Just today, as of my recording this, I put up a 3-minute video about Gil Kane. A 3-minute video about Gil Kane. You can't beat that. Unless you check out my podcast with Claire Napier. It's called Udder Madness. We talk about Top Cow Comics. I just put up a new video with visual annotations of our 5th episode. It's on YouTube. I put up a new copy after we had some issues with the first video of it. But it's great. We put a lot of work into that show. We love doing it. So check it out. Check out my work on the Journal. Just last week I put up a new piece about Rick Altergott, a great cartoonist. You should know if you don't already. Have a wonderful day.